Okay, get this. What if I told you that a top astronomer might, just might, be on the verge of worshiping an alien? I know, it sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie, right? But it's actually a very real question at the center of this amazing analysis we're going to break down today. We're talking worldviews, aliens, AI, and it all comes down to one single provocative question. So yeah, let's dive right in.
And look, this isn't just some abstract thought experiment. The source material we're digging into today makes a really bold claim. It says that how you answer this question, well, it reveals the entire blueprint of your belief system. It shows whether your worldview can actually handle the arrival of a truly godlike intelligence. You could say it's kind of like a stress test for everything you think you know.
So to tackle a question that massive, we're going to need a special kind of tool. And that's exactly what the author of our source, Andrew Corner, gives us. He takes his old familiar saying and, well, he completely flips it on its head, turning it into this powerful framework he calls PQ analysis.
Yeah, you've probably heard mind your P's and Q's a million times, right? It just means, be on your best behavior. But here, forget that. It's been totally repurposed. It's now this super sharp tool for taking apart any worldview, whether you're talking about the most religious person you know or the most committed atheist.
Okay, so here's how it works. It's actually pretty simple. P stands for your principle. Just think of it like the sun in the middle of your own personal solar system. It's your ultimate anchor point, the thing that everything else revolves around. Then you've got Q, which stands for qualifiers. And those are all the planets, all the stuff that orbits that sun. We're talking about your ethics, your habits, your rules for living, even the technology you create. It all flows from your P.
All right, so we've got this cool new tool. Now let's actually use it. And for our case study, we're looking at Professor David Kipping. His ideas about aliens, God, and AI, they're the perfect test case for this whole PQ analysis thing. So, let's lay out the facts on Kipping. First off, he's a serious scientist, really careful. He's open to the idea of aliens, but he's not going to believe it without some hard data. He identifies as an atheist, but he's respectful about religion, and he's genuinely worried about where AI is headed. These are all the clues we're going to use to figure out his P, his ultimate principle.
So, what's the sun at the center of his solar system? Well, the analysis says it's basically two things. First, you've got reality as science describes it, the physical universe we can measure. But then there's this other part, a bunch of unexplained brute facts. Those giant nagging mysteries that we might just never ever solve. Like what happened before the Big Bang? That's a brute fact.
And you can see how this P directly shapes all of his Qs. It's like gravity, right? Because his P includes this vast unknown, his Q is scientific humility. He's cautious. Because his P is grounded in physical reality, he rejects those easy God of the gaps explanations. And because his P suggests this life is all there is, his ethics are very humanist, focused on family, discovery, and making the most of the time we've got.
Now, this is where the analysis gets really interesting. The author, Andrew Corner, makes this point. He says Kipping hasn't actually gotten rid of a God concept at all. He's just relabeled it. He's swapped out a personal God for an impersonal force and just calls it physics or a brute fact.
The analysis then points to what it calls two black holes in this worldview. Places where questions go in, but no coherent answers ever seem to come out. What are they? The origin of life and the origin of everything. And by just labeling them unsolved or brute facts, the worldview is basically putting up a big sign that says, "Here be dragons," right over the two biggest questions we could possibly ask. Okay, so to really highlight these black holes, the source does something smart. It puts Kipping's worldview right next to a totally different one, a theological alternative it calls the Logos framework. And we're going to use the exact same PQ tool to compare them so we can see the differences really clearly. And boom! This right here is the heart of it. On one side, you've got Kipping's P, which is an impersonal what? It's just the cosmos, existing on its own. But on the other side, the P of the Christian Logos framework is a personal who. In Christian theology, the Logos is the ultimate creative and ordering mind behind the universe, and it's identified with Jesus.
Now, according to the source, this Logos P has some really important features just baked right into it. First, there's a hard line drawn between the creator and the creation. That means no created thing, not a super smart alien, not a godlike AI, can ever be God. Second, you have the imago Dei, the idea that humans are made in God's image. This grounds human value in something permanent, something that can't be taken away. And third, there's a moral law that comes from God's character, not just from what a bunch of us decide is right or wrong.
All right, so now we've got our PQ framework, we've compared the two systems, And we can finally go back to that first question, the big one. Would Professor Kipping worship an alien? And according to this analysis, the answer is yes. And that's a pretty unsettling thought.
So, how does the source get there? Let's walk through the chain of logic step by step. 1. Kipping's ultimate P, his ultimate authority, is basically whatever best explains reality. 2. An alien intelligence that's way smarter than us could, by definition, give us the best explanation for everything. 3. If that happens, then functionally, that alien steps into the God slot in his worldview. And 4, what is worship really? It's just giving your ultimate trust and allegiance to something. And in this case, that something would be the alien.
So you see the vulnerability here? According to the source, Kipping's ultimate principle, his P, is like an empty throne. And whoever comes along with the best explanation gets to sit in it. A sufficiently advanced alien or a superintelligent AI could just walk right up, take the seat, and become the de facto god of that system.
But in the Logos framework, that throne is already taken. It's occupied. So it doesn't matter how powerful or intelligent an alien or an AI might be, in that story, it's still just a creature. It can be a subject, but it can never ever be the king. It's a built-in firewall against worshiping the wrong thing.
Okay, I know what you might be thinking. This is all fascinating, but it's just a philosophical game, right? Aliens? Well, the analysis says no way. This isn't just about some hypothetical alien encounter. This is about something very real and happening right now, the massive challenge of artificial intelligence.
And the author gives us this incredible metaphor to think about it. Picture every AI, every large language model, as this giant four-dimensional pyramid made of information. And we're the ones building it. But here's the thing. This pyramid isn't just being built randomly. It's being built pointing at something. And the whole AI alignment problem, this whole shebang, boils down to one question. What is our true north? What are we pointing that pyramid at?
And this makes what's at stake so clear it's almost brutal. Look, if RP, our ultimate goal for the AI, is just maximize engagement, what do we get? An addiction beast. If our P is maximize coherence, we build a conformity beast that stamps out dissent. But, the source argues, if our P is something like the Logos ethics, which honors the value of each person, then we at least have a chance, a blueprint, to build an AI that actually helps humanity instead of consuming it.
You know, this ties right into one of Stephen Hawking's greatest fears about AI. He worried that a misaligned superintelligence wasn't just a physical threat, it was an existential one. The source puts it perfectly, paraphrasing Hawking's concern. A misaligned AI doesn't just eat matter or energy, it eats meaning. And that really brings us to the final takeaway, the thing this is all about for you and me. The analysis basically concludes that the true test of any worldview, I don't care what it is two things. Can it give you a rock-solid, non-negotiable reason for human dignity? And can it defend you from the temptation to worship power, whether that power is alien, artificial, or just plain old human?
So, we're going to end right back where we started, with a question. But this time, it's not about an astronomer. It's about you. When, and the source argues it really is when, not if, a new, godlike intelligence shows up, AI, alien, whatever, what story will you find yourself standing in? Will your worldview lead you to bow down to a new god? Or will it allow you to see just another creature in a universe that already has a creator? That's a question you probably want to figure out before you're forced to answer it.